I feel like we should be liberated women and we should be allowed to have fun. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Touchy Subject. I'm Lena the Plug, and today I am joined by Monica the Anonymous, sitting behind the camera. This is purposeful. I know that you guys want a camera on Monica, but she's not ready yet, and I'm totally comfortable with that. But so I will mostly be talking to someone who is to the left of the camera, and she'll be responding to me. So this is mostly for my visual viewers. If you're listening on the podcast, a podcast app, it doesn't make a difference for you. Monica, do you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
Hi. So today is my first, I guess what most people would call solo episode, but it's not really solo. Monica's here with me. And the inspiration for today's episode has come from reactions and responses to me going on Adam's podcast, No Jumper. I did like a formal interview for the first time on his channel, and I was interviewed by his employee / I guess co-podcaster. That's the right word, right?
Co-host?
Co-host, sure. It's weird because they're like employed by Adam. I don't know. Anyways, Adam had someone else interview me, but he was in on the interview. And the interview was 2 hours and almost 20 minutes, I think. And it seems like a big part of the interview, the main focus seemed to be about my sexual history. This seemed to be the most important thing and the most interesting thing to the interviewer in a lot of ways. He did ask me about my life growing up, etc., my relationship with Adam, all of those things, but this seemed to be the focus, and it seemed to be the thing that the commenters were clinging on to the most. And probably what made it interesting was that my partner was sitting next to me, so having someone make me recap my sexual history before my partner in front of them probably made a lot of people uncomfortable, even though it didn't really make Adam. I don't think it made him that uncomfortable. Did you?
I don't think so, but I think people are definitely reading into his facial expressions. But I think it's also because we're so used to Adam usually talking and kind of owning the conversation and not sitting back and having, those little thoughts in his head. And so I feel like people definitely were just really reading into like his body language and stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like he might have been doing some of it for like a comedic effect, because like he knows probably what happens. Like people clip it into reels, or they clip it and they post it on the meme page. But Adam wasn't hearing a lot of those things for the first time. Like he already knew a lot of the things I was talking about. It's not like he sat there and ever asked me like, how many black guys have you had sex with, which is something that Flakko was very interested in, which I think is like so weird. But he knows, like he knows I'm like not like pure or a virgin before him, even though he would like to pretend and joke that I am, because it just like, makes him feel a little better, I guess. But this is what I wanted to spend the bulk of today talking about, is just like how important is your partner's sexual history, and why does it matter? Why do some people place so much value in it? Personally, I don't get jealous when I hear Adam talk about girls he's been with before me, even if he says it's one of the top sexual experiences of his life. I don't know. Is it weird that I don't care?
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like this is a touchy subject. Because I don't know, because your reaction was so like your reaction is like, yeah, I think because you're so used to being open about everything. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like his reaction, and that's probably why the commentants led to what they led to, he was acting like it was the first time he has ever heard any of that, in a sense. And I feel like it was almost like amping up like Flakko to be like, damn, like it like made him want to talk about it more.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like, and also I feel like they usually don't like Adam over sexualizing any conversation on his platform. And so like this was like, finally, like we can really like over sexualize these questions and
about me to get back at him, sort of
thing.
Exactly.
And to kind of just be like shut up because your girl did this, like in a way to kind of like get like dig a little bit deeper in order to like kind of like make a joke out of it later.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like maybe I'm so far on the one end of this is like, I just don't think that it's important, and I don't care. I think what's important when you're getting in a relationship with someone is knowing their sexual health. Like, whether they have an STI or whatever. Like, I feel like that's important. And like, obviously number of partners will affect whether or not that's a thing, but obviously you can get an STD the first time you have sex. But I think that's important. And then I think what's more important is like how you treated those people outside of sex. Like, were you a dick to them? Did you cheat in your relationships? Like, I feel like that is a much more valuable thing to understand about your partner than like how many people they've unless the sex that they're having is like, I guess, in sort of an addictive way where they feel like they always need to have sex with somebody new. And so then your relationship with them isn't going to be enough. And I know this kind of sounds like my relationship because me and Adam have sex with other people, but it really like it started out as something that was enjoyable for the both of us. And then it became like a very much like a work thing. It's still enjoyable for us, but now it's like we don't do it out of like a need for our relationship. We do it because it's part of our business. But I also feel like, do partners like just have this conversation with each other when they first start dating?
I think so.
But why? Like, so you're telling me like, well, your situation's different because you and your ex got together like in high school, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like in high school, it's such a thing. Like, how many people have you slept with? Because sex is so new.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit different for you guys because you obviously got together when you were a little bit older. But I feel like most people kind of, not necessarily a number, because I think it's a very common thing for girls to have a list.
Yeah, Adam has
did you ever
too.
Adam has a
I
list?
found my list, but my list hasn't been updated since 2015. I found it when I was cleaning out like my OG email the other day.
Wait, hold on. But Adam has a list.
He does have a list. Yeah, he's kind of stopped updating it when we started dating, but yeah, he has a list with hundreds of people
I
on
did
it.
not think that guys kept lists.
Yeah, because Adam sees like he sees the woman he's had sex with as like accomplishments in a way, like, and so that's why he's always saying like, if you have sex with a prostitute, you can't add her to your list because you paid her. You didn't have to like,
oh yeah, I did see that on that
like,
podcast when he was talking about that.
You didn't have to like earn or like do any work to get her to sleep with you.
So then I wonder if it's the other way. Like, say, you know, girls have their own list. Like, we consider everyone that has put their inside of you to be on the list. But
yeah.
Because I heard his like whole thing about the chase and
exactly, yeah.
I wonder like how we think of it though. Like, what do you think of your list? Like, when you had a list at one point, were you like, like,
I had every guy that I'd slept with on the list. It didn't just include people I was in a relationship with. It was just like whoever I had sex with. And then I also included like my ex-girlfriend on it. So I included women too. So I don't know. I feel like I should go through and try to like go through my phone camera roll and update my list. But
that's actually so crazy though, because I feel like I have a lot of guy friends and maybe they do have a list. Maybe this is like an unsaid thing that people just automatically put on lists? Girls. Like, do guys have lists too? Or do they like try to play it off like, yeah, like, oh, I fucked this amount of girls. But like, damn well, you know, in your phone, on your notes app, there's a list.
I feel like a lot of guys have a list so short that they probably don't feel the need to document it. But Adam was like, quote unquote, super slutty. So he had like a lot of people that he had to add to his list so that he could remember who was on it. But
why do you think that matters? Is it was there a number next to each person's name?
I think so. Because think about guys, like they want to be able to have as many girls under their belt as possible and like have sex with as many women as they can. Meanwhile, they want girls to have the opposite. And so like a lot of the information online is like, you know, they say like, oh, if a guy tells you his number, cut it in half. But if a girl tells you her number, triple it.
I was actually just going to bring that up.
Yeah, which is so stupid.
It's so stupid because I have a super duper low body count.
Yeah.
And a guy I'm dating right now, he asked me. So
really?
He asked me what my body count was. Not necessarily like how. It was just like, you know, you've been in a relationship for this long. Like, how many people have you been with? I think that was, and I was like, less than 10. And so then in his head, I've always known that to be a thing like, oh, you better add 5 or multiply it by 3.
So you think
and I remember saying that and then being like,
he thinks
he's
I'm
doing
lying.
the math in my head. He's doing the math in his head right now because he doesn't believe it. And then it's like, why is it like that though? Is it common?
It's so sex shamey. Like, it's so like, I feel like we should be liberated women and we should be allowed to have fun. So I feel like if you're starting to talk to someone and you think like maybe they might become your boyfriend or your girlfriend, like I feel like you shouldn't disclose the information about your past right away because they don't know a lot about you yet. And they're just going to judge you based on that number, depending on if in their mind it's high or low. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the reaction also depends on, their judgment depends on the number. Like if I say a super low number, yeah, okay, maybe he multiplies it by 3, but then it's almost like score. Like I have like some type of pure angel like next to me right now.
And I feel like I feel like you should never try to lie. Like I feel like if your number is low, you shouldn't try to act like you're super experienced. Or if your number is high, you shouldn't try to act like you're not experienced at all. But I feel like the reason that you shouldn't have to disclose it right away is because you want them to judge you based on how they react to you in your relationship. And a lot of guys, if they hear like, oh, she has a high number, they just automatically think that there's no way you're going to be loyal and that you're going to have a need to go fuck other people and just cheat on them. And that's why I feel like that number is like, it shouldn't be shared right away. Like, I feel like you should show your character by how you are in your relationship with someone, you know? Like, and Adam knew that I guess, had promiscuous sex before I was with him.
And he embraces it in a way where it's kind of like...
But it's because he didn't like me in the beginning. So when I shared that information with him, like, it's not that he didn't like me. It's like he didn't see me as someone that he could make his partner. I was just a girl he was fucking. So that didn't matter to him. He had already fucked girls who were strippers, porn stars, whatever. And he knew that probably other nights of the week they were hooking up with other people, but he didn't care because he was just fucking them too. So with me, it's like I shared a lot of that information with him right away because I also knew him to be someone who was very candid and very honest. So in my head, I was like, if I share myself candidly and honestly, like he cannot judge me for this. But then as we became closer and as he realized he really, really liked me and wanted to be with me, he didn't want to know more about my history.
But at the same time, like I've heard him kind of embrace it in a way where it's like, yes, he doesn't want to know the details and stuff, but it's almost like, I feel like it's almost better that you've had like these, like this past and like got to know like what you like and what you don't like and stuff. Because then if not, then you get in a relationship, you get tied down and then you always wonder. I mean, taking out the threesomes out of like the equation and stuff, obviously, I feel like that plays a big role in you guys' body count, even though, I mean, it's like for work and stuff. Work. But yeah, no, I feel like it's almost better. Like in my case, I feel like because I was in a relationship for so long and my body count was so low, I always wondered like, what if? And then my ex, he had been with a lot of girls before me. So I always kind of had that in the back of my head, like, well, I want to experience the stuff you got to experience before being tied down. And I feel like that probably ultimately kind of ruins a lot of relationships because the girl, maybe, you know, she... Even like high school sweethearts, like what about other opportunities or like what about like other sexual experiences like outside of like what you know? I feel like it's almost needed. It's almost necessary.
If you have very good open communication with your partner and let's say it's your high school sweetheart, it's the only person you've ever been with and you guys are willing to sit there and be like, hey, I want to try this or this feels good to me. Will you do it? Then your relationship and your sex life could really flourish and grow. But I feel like a lot of people are probably not comfortable having those kinds of conversations. You were in a really long relationship. Do you feel like you were able to do that? Was there more comfort in a relationship?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And, but I feel like there was always a what if or like,
what if what though? What if I have better sex with someone else?
Not necessarily better, but like what does it feel like having sex with someone else? Or like even a one-night stand. I had never before had a one-night stand. And then people would talk about it and I'm like, I just want to know like what that felt like. And then people are like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Like you're going to have like walk of shame after the next day, blah, like all of this extra stuff. And I'm like, I just want to know like what it feels like.
I had one night stands where it was like the most fun I've had, mostly because it was like a super spontaneous experience and maybe less so about the actual physical sex. And those, like, I would wake up the next day and be like, oh, that was so much fun. And maybe you never see the guy again. Maybe you guys hang out again at some point, whatever. And then there's one night stands I had where I woke up and was like, oh my God, that was a fucking mistake. Waiting for the Uber, holding my shoes in my hand. And like, those I don't miss, you know? But I feel like the one night stand, the excitement about it is more like the spontaneity about it. Like not knowing what's going to happen sort of thing. But then I don't know, sometimes you go and it's like, oof, not a fun experience.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I'm like in that realm right now. I was so eager to like move on, and not necessarily move on like into another relationship, but I'm not gonna lie, I honestly was so eager to have sex with someone else.
Yeah.
Because it was always like, and I mean, granted, I feel like he was kind of not physically cheating, but mentally cheating for a really, really long time.
Like he really
like
wanted
intention or like,
Yeah.
you know, hitting up other girls while we're together. And so then I was like, at that point, I was like,
I might as well be cheating.
I might as well
Yeah.
be cheating. But then I like finally, you know, we cut it off and stuff. And so I was so eager to like move on, talk to someone else, have distractions. And honestly, I feel like I was thriving. Like
After
totally.
you guys broke up?
Yes. Like
So you guys have only been broken up for what, 3 months?
since April.
Yeah. So yeah, 3 months.
April, May, June,
So
yeah.
have you had sex with anyone
Yes,
since?
I
Was it
have.
a one night stand? Or are you still talking to the guy?
So the first guy, actually, it's kind of weird. No, it's not weird, actually. Tinder.
You found a guy on Tinder?
I found
okay.
a guy on Tinder, and it was very odd for me because everyone told me you go on Tinder, it's a one night stand, whatever. This guy, we ended up talking, like texting 24/7, probably for like 2 weeks before we even like met up.
Uh-huh.
Because I was like, I'm not meeting someone from online. Like, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not. And also, I had never been on it. Like, I have not been on a date in so long. Like, and then
with someone new.
with someone new, and not just like, I feel like even in relationships after like 5 or 6 years, like your dates aren't truly like dates. Like, it's kind of rare. But I mean, that's not for everyone. But I feel like we just became so complacent that we just be like,
And you guys lived together. So it was like every
Exactly.
day was a hangout. It's hard to like really force yourself to make it special when you're already seeing each other and passing every single day.
yeah. So then this guy, and so of course, like Ebony, I live with her. She was just like, you know, like this is kind of you going back into your relationship path where like Tinder's not meant for you to like text a guy 24/7 and then like and we were talking like long text conversations and all of that. And so it felt good. And so we finally met up, and then we didn't have sex that day, but like we kept talking and we hung out, and then we did. And then all of my friends were so concerned that I was too eager to like go and see someone else, but also that I was going to totally feel regret after, or I was going to feel like nasty after, or like just disappointed in myself for doing that. And I didn't feel any of that. I like literally the next I told Emily, like, come into my room. And I was
told
like,
her everything.
I told her everything. And I was just like, that felt good to finally get done with. But at the same time, like nothing in me, I feel like this is going to sound so stupid, but I feel like I get post-nut clarity, like as a woman.
Yeah.
I feel like
totally.
after I was like, why are you sleeping over? Like, why are you
He slept over your house?
Yes, he did.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
So it was different for me, first of all, just having
But was the
another male.
actual sex good?
Yes, but I feel like I'm only saying yes because it was someone new. If that makes sense.
So the experience is novel. It's different. Was
Exactly.
it awkward at first? I feel
no,
like
so that's the thing. I feel like it
but you
wasn't
talked for 2 weeks.
Exactly. We were already talking so much that I feel like it wasn't awkward at all. But then I ended up seeing him again like not too long ago. And it was like one of the most awkward experiences for me. And so, yeah, I kind of like, even last night, we like kind of ended things like in like a very funny way. But I was just like, yeah, no, I feel like I'm over it. Like I'm over, like I was so eager to talk to someone after my relationship. And now I'm just like so over it. Like I'm getting like so happy just being by myself and stuff. And yeah, no, I'm glad that happened, but I don't see myself like, I'm just a relationship girl. I'm trying not to be, but I think that's just the way it is.
I mean, if that's how you are, then that's how you are. And maybe you get more enjoyable. I mean, I think most people probably do get more enjoyable, deeper sex experiences from being with someone that they're close to and they're really, truly like emotionally intimate with. But I also think you should try stuff out. You know, it's like what if you like think you're saving yourself to like only have sex with your boyfriend, and then so you wait till he like makes you his boyfriend, and then what if it's bad?
Exactly. That's
what if he does
I'm
something
saying.
really weird in bed? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And also just something that I'm finding with like because I've slept with someone else too after that, and I think the funniest thing is guys' faces when they come.
You're not supposed to look at their face.
I'm sorry.
I feel like it'll turn me off.
I'm sorry, but like I'm so used to, the same reaction for so many years that it's like such different reactions, and it's like comical to me. And so that's why like the morning after I told Ebony, like, that's how I started at. Like that was like the funniest thing, or like that totally just made me like snap out of it. Like, okay, it's time for you to go. Like,
oh my God.
Like,
what did he do?
Time are you leaving? I don't want to say.
I hope he's not listening to this.
That's why I'm like, I'm sorry. I hope you're not listening to this.
I'm sure that my O face is not very cute. So if you are meeting a guy and you're going to be with him or whatever you think he's going to be your boyfriend, you're going to just straight up ask him like, how many people?
No.
Right.
Because like how I was saying, how the guy asked me, I didn't ask back. For whatever reason,
but
I
how
just
did
didn't
you
want to
feel
know.
when he asked you? Did you feel like you're like, I don't know, like questioning for a crime or something? Because that's why I feel about it.
Probably because I didn't feel that way, because I literally like it was
because you have such a low
by
number.
the time he asked me, my body count was like one hand, and so then like I felt like this is probably what he wants to hear. So fuck it, let him. So
you had the right answer.
Let him multiply it. Okay, then fine. Then what? It's like 15. Okay, but I think maybe someone that has like a higher body count might maybe feel a little bit insecure about it, which they shouldn't feel insecure about it. But I mean, that's just like the reality of the situation.
I don't know. I am already in a relationship with somebody that I'm, set up to marry. And so I don't feel like threatened by my number. But like if I was still on the scene and someone was looking to date me, I probably would learn very quickly that I would have to lie about my number, just because guys put so much stock in it, even though I don't think it's important. Like, I don't know if I would want to be with someone who necessarily places so much judgment on that. It's very sex shamey. I don't know. And it's very like, It's very sexist because they wouldn't hold themselves to the same standard.
Yeah. I feel like if a guy told me his number, if I would have asked and he told me a high number, it wouldn't make me like he's a man whore. It would more make me like, okay, he's more experienced.
Yeah.
So maybe he knows where the clit is.
Yeah.
Like, like something like that. I just don't, I don't see it like how a guy sees it, where it's like, oh, she's for everybody, or like.
And like if he fucks 500 girls and then he chooses to be completely monogamous and be your partner, doesn't that make you feel like, oh, he chose me, like out of all of the girls he can get?
Yeah, no, 100%.
And I feel like a guy should feel the same way about a girl. Another thing that people were really uncomfortable with about on the podcast I did on Adam's channel was like the fact that I was actually addressing my sexual history in front of my partner. And in some situations where I felt like I had to justify my sexual experiences, I was saying like, that was a fun night. I had fun. Which, why are people having sex? Because it's fucking fun. Like, and I feel like just saying that statement shouldn't be so radical. But a lot of the comments were like, whoa, like she's talking about this night that she did Molly and had sex. Like it was a lot of fun, whatever, in front of Adam. Like that's super disrespectful. She shouldn't say that. First of all, I was being asked. So obviously I was going to say it. I wasn't just offering it up like it was nothing. But I feel like a lot of people get really jealous when they hear about these situations of their partner before them. And like, should that be allowed? Like, because personally, I feel like no.
No, I don't think so. I don't think, unless it's like directly affecting your current relationship. Like if you were to bring up like something that maybe you guys are fighting about like currently, or maybe there's like that one person that he just like doesn't want you like not necessarily talking to, but like that one person that might be just a little bit too extra, or who is very aware that you guys are together but is still trying to pursue you and like sexually. And yeah, I feel like maybe, but I feel like it should just be like, you should be able to be like, yeah, it was fun. And it was crazy because a lot of girls were like, hell yeah, she's owning it.
Yeah, because I mean, think about Adam's life, right? He has many different podcasts that he's on, and then he does Patreon, which is like kind of like Plug Talk, but he basically interviews OnlyFans girls on his podcast, and there's no sex involved, but they're having really like horny, sexually charged conversations. And a lot of times the girls take their tops off and stuff. And I don't watch them just because like I don't feel the need to spy on Adam. But I know what happens on those podcasts. Like Adam is sitting there and he's telling the girls they're hot. And, you know, he's like, hey, you want to take your top off? Like, do you want to like, he's trying to elevate the conversation for the sake of entertainment to make it more attractive to the audience so they can subscribe and stuff. And like, that used to like bother me in the beginning when it was like my relationship was newer, because I was like adjusting to like, okay, I'm dating this type of entertainer. This is the type of content he makes or whatever. But I like took myself out of the equation and was like, this doesn't make my relationship with Adam any less because he does this. Like, we still have our normal sex life. It's not like he's like using the Patreon as a way to like satisfy himself and then he doesn't pay any attention to me or want me, you know?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that like, I don't think anyone has the right to be jealous of each other, because it's like, I'm not faulting Adam when he does the Patreon. And so therefore I feel like I should be able to talk about my sexual past where I had fun. And honestly, I don't have any contact with any person that I've ever slept with before now. And neither does he with any other girl. So it's not like it's like affecting our current relationship in any way. But I feel like I wanted to have this conversation as part of like a bigger conversation about jealousy. Like, when is jealousy validated? Like, when should you be allowed to be jealous of your partner?
I feel like a lot of jealousy kind of stems from insecurity. And then it's at what point like if one person's feeling a little bit insecure, like sometimes it's like too much to where like an insecurity is like really affecting the situation, like the relationship. But at what point is it like, if you're doing everything to possibly make your partner feel secure in their relationship, like, and they're still like so jealous over something?
Yeah.
Like, when is it like a relationship problem? And then when is it just like kind of a you problem?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was seeing, because I was looking at videos about people talking about sexual histories and stuff. And there were some comments that were just from people like, oh, I can't get over my girlfriend's past. Like, I'm so jealous of her previous relationships and her previous sex and all this stuff. And it's like, this is you, and you're never going to be able to be with like a girl unless she's a virgin, because you just feel this way. And it's just like, you can't get over it, which it has nothing to do with that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like, or that person just might feel so insecure, like they're not able to bring those, maybe what used to make her happy, they can't bring that to the table. So instead of like trying to fix the problem, instead they just like become overly jealous. Like, yeah. And I feel like then that turns into like projection and then like controlling, to where they're like, you cannot talk to this person, or you can't have male friends, or I don't want you to allow this person to have you on social media.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too like controlling. And I just feel like someone like that just needs to kind of grow up, because they're probably not going to be comfortable in any relationship, because any partner someone has, like, they're going to be in situations with people of the opposite sex, like, you know, in a workplace or whatever. Like, what are you going to tell your girlfriend? Like, don't go to work, don't talk to guys at work, like whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, there's certain situations that you just have to be in. And if that's you, like, you need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Unless she's actively doing things that are trying to make you jealous. Like, if she knows like a what's it called? I guess like not a pressure point,
like a
like
trigger.
Like a trigger. Like, if she knows one of your triggers and she's not trying to like avoid triggering you, then she's doing things on purpose, then the
problem's just deeper then.
Yeah. Then you guys are in a toxic relationship.
It's a little bit toxic. And it's not, I don't think it's jealousy at that point. It's more like, that's just fucked up.
Yeah.
I feel like the consensus is probably, if you don't ask if you don't want to know the answer.
But I'm talking about also like, well, is this a different topic? Like, when are you allowed to be jealous in all situations?
I feel like jealousy has a really negative connotation, and I feel like there's a way to be jealous, but I feel like the second you feel jealous, you should definitely communicate that to your partner, because then you like kind of hold it in, and then it becomes an insecurity that kind of just like dwells.
Because what if your partner's doing something that makes you jealous and you just don't even, right?
What if they don't even know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's like jealousy, that there's all these different kinds of things that make people jealous, but not every relationship has the same the same qualifications for jealousy, I guess. Like, would you have gotten jealous if your ex liked a girl's picture on Instagram?
Yeah.
But only because he was trying to hit up girls, right?
Exactly. So that's a big thing, is like there's two parts to that. So the first part is I was already insecure in the relationship because I knew that not only is maybe he's liking those pictures, but he's probably DMing them right after he likes them. Or, you know, those like late night likes, like when you go down someone's like Instagram to an old picture and then you like the picture so that in the morning they're like, this person was lurking. Have you ever heard of that? That's like a very common practice.
It's really weird to go super deep. And so I'm trying like to make sure I don't fucking like anything.
Me
if I'm
too,
looking
like
at
you
pictures
accidentally like
from 2014, I'm like, ooh, don't touch your phone. Scroll with your eyes. Like, no.
Which is actually really funny that you bring that up, because I feel like at the very beginning of the relationship, I probably should have saw the red flags. He would, in quotation marks, accidentally like very overly sexual pictures of girls, but girls that I knew. And so I think that created insecurity. And this is before I found out, you know, he was doing anything behind my back. It was more so those girls knew me. So in their head, they're like, oh, you know, Monica's man is messy. And so I feel like that also plays a really big part of it, the way girls think. Like if a guy was like liking, like if my friend's guy was liking my stuff, I'd automatically be like, red flag. Like, why is he doing that?
Because then it's also public information, because your friend group is all following each other. So then when they go to your picture, they see
so liked that. Yeah. And then it's like, that's just kind of weird. It's like a boundary thing. I mean, but that's also a really big topic of like girls not liking their guys liking. Like, I'm okay with regular pictures, but it's like, damn, like you don't like anything and then you'd like a fucking bikini pic. Like, yes, that picture is so fucking nice, but it's just like,
yeah. Because I've always thought like people who are jealous of people liking photos is like way too extra and way too high school, but there's layers to it, because obviously not every single person whose page you like is the same person. Like, what if it's an ex? What if it's a girl that you like were gonna cheat with, or whatever it is, or what if you already have a history of like being sneaky and messy? Then in those situations, obviously I understand it.
Like if he's liking Kylie Jenner's pictures, I don't give a fuck. Like,
because also it's like, what message are you trying to send? Like, you can just look at a girl's picture. If you're horny and you just want to look at her page, that's one thing, but then you have to send the message to her like, look, I like your picture.
Exactly. And then it's like, even with old posts, it's kind of like,
then you
doing
went
the
deep.
extras. Like,
yeah,
I don't even care. Like, do whatever you want. Watch porn. Like, stare at the bikini pic. But like, you're going the extra mile. Even like with Twitter, I feel like Instagram, people just scroll and they just like. But then on Twitter, I feel like it's a little bit different as like a normie, because I feel like with Twitter on like your end is like way fucking different. Like, you're wanting the engagement and stuff, but like as like a normal girl that's not like trying to be an influencer and all this stuff and has like maybe 1 or 2 likes on a picture, and then like it's then the third like is like your boyfriend. It's kind of like like how annoying.
Yeah, because then whoever's photo it is, they see, like you're saying, and Monica's man liked my picture.
Exactly. And
then it's like and then I guess in that situation I could see how you would see it as like disrespectful.
Yeah, it's just like on her end, she might be like, oh, like when you, before, you know, all this fame and followers and likes and stuff, you would never look at who liked your stuff.
I didn't have a Twitter until after I met Adam. My Twitter's like as old as Lena the Plug is, and then Instagram, I guess I would see
like when your followers were just your friends.
Yeah. I guess I was paying attention to who liked my pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I feel like in that case, then it's kind of like, oh, like that's when it would bother me. But I feel like now I see a different side of it. I think because there was so much going on like behind, but I think if it's just like a regular guy that you feel super secure with and he likes a bikini pic of someone, it depends on who the person is, in my opinion, still. But if you just like a photo, then kind of own it though, because at the same time I would bring it up and I wouldn't be mad about it. It would just be like, you know, that kind of is like a boundary for me, and bring it up in a way that like,
because would he want you to like guys' photos, whether they're guys you know in real life or guys who are just famous celebrities?
I think at one point, like, he was like, well, then let me see your likes. And
oh no,
I was definitely, but here's the thing is like, guys.
Were you liking pictures?
Yes, but like, it'll be like a guy like at a Dodger game, you know? And it's not like,
what do you mean?
It's not a, and then I go on his likes and it's ass. It's just like a bunch of asses. And then it's just, I feel like it's different. Maybe
it is weird because like,
double standard is.
You know he likes asses, but you just don't want him to show the world that he likes asses.
Like, or not just show the world, tell that girl, I like your ass.
Yeah. It's funny because I follow Jesse Williams from Grey's Anatomy, and even when I like his photos, I'm like, is this bad? Like, should I not be liking his pictures? I think he's gorgeous, which is why I follow him on Instagram, because I don't follow any of the other cast members from Grey's Anatomy on Instagram. But
how did Adam feel? Speaking of Jesse Williams, remember you told me this story about you guys being in bed and you were.
But see, I'm like so glad that I have like a comfortable relationship with my partner that when I'm giggling in bed looking at his leaked dick video from Broadway, that I can like share it with my partner. I mean,
wait, say the story.
Okay, yeah. So Jesse Williams is a character from, well, he's an actor on the show Grey's Anatomy. He recently left to do a show on Broadway. The show, I forget what it's called, but it's about like a gay baseball player who was coming out, and one of the scenes is like a shower scene, and it's in the theater, but you're not allowed to bring your phone. Like, you have to put your phone in some sort of case. I don't know what it is, but people are supposed to respect the rules of Broadway and not film performers who are naked, or just film performers in general. Like, that's a Broadway rule. You don't film the play. But there was leaked footage. Someone actually did take a video that came out online of his dick, and it is, I'm sorry, we're talking about his nudes, and I know it's wrong because they shouldn't have been leaked, but like, he has the biggest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was massive, and I'm like giggling over it. And it's like, I just recently last year watched like almost all of the seasons of Grey's Anatomy back to back to back. So this is really, really important to me. Like, I really cared. And Adam comes into the room and he's just like, what are you doing? And I was like, I couldn't stop laughing. I felt like a 12-year-old girl, but I was like, you have to see this thing. And like, I showed Adam, you know, many, many videos of the leaked footage of his nudes. And like, Adam was able to laugh with me, and like, it wasn't a big deal. I don't know. And I was texting the videos to my sister and my sister-in-law, and I don't know. I really enjoyed his leaked nudes, and I feel like it's really fucked up to say. And maybe you're going to come for me, because if it was a girl, we wouldn't be talking like this. But yeah, I just like, I'm happy that I have a partner that I could do that with. Like, do you think you could have done that with your ex?
Oh yeah, for sure. Something like that. Yeah, for sure.
But then if you liked his pics on Instagram after the fact,
yeah, because it's like,
because he's not achievable, because like a famous person.
Exactly. It's like a famous person. But if it was like a leaked video of like a friend of a friend and I kept watching it, like, then obviously it's kind of like, wait, what the fuck?
It is kind of weird, because it's like, for example, like, Adam has interviewed Rubi Rose like twice, right? Rubi Rose is super hot, and like, she's a rapper, but she's also known for being hot and being an OnlyFans girl. And it's like, Adam likes all her pics, and he definitely likes all the pics with her ass and stuff. And she's like a celebrity, but he also knows her. So, but I don't feel like I could be mad or jealous about that, because A, I think she's hot, and of course he's gonna think she's hot, and B, he actually knows her in real life, and that's like his peer in a way. So like, how could I be mad at him for like liking someone's pic? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's just different because like you guys' job.
But if she like came to do the podcast and was like flirting with him a bunch, and he told me, then I might feel differently about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't think she has any interest in him. So that maybe that's why I'm not threatened. He said that when she came to the podcast the first time, she brought like 3 girlfriends, and they were definitely treating him like the old guy. And I was like, fuck yeah. Hell yeah, you old man, get put in your place. So that made me happy. But anyways, I think she's super hot. Big shout out to Rubi Rose. Yeah, I guess there's just like a lot of layers and a lot of nuances to it. And I feel like if I wasn't in this relationship and I had another relationship post Adam, let's just say that was a world I lived in, I would hate for my partner to look at the rules and the things I allowed in this relationship and try to map them exactly onto my relationship, because they would be different. It's kind of like if you get in a relationship by cheating with someone, then you could never trust that person like if you were the one who cheated, they're probably not going to trust you, or vice versa. And so it kind of sets your relationship up in a weird way. And I know that there's probably like very successful marriages that came from this sort of like genesis of a relationship, but I feel like that would be really hard for me.
Yeah.
I would always like wonder. Are you looking at me funny?
No, I'm looking at you like that because that is how my relationship started.
And you were still able to stay with him. Were you the one cheating, or was
the one with someone else?
Oh.
And so,
but you were like 16, right?
Yeah. Which I mean doesn't make it okay, but at the same time, like, so when years later, when we're breaking up, and I openly told him, you know, I'm talking to someone else, like it's nothing serious, but like just so you know that I'm not trying to like lead you on or anything like that. We're broken up. But he was like so sure that because of the way that him and I started, that this was a guy that I had probably been talking to. Like there was some type of overlap, and that's why I finally
even though it's
broke
not
up
true.
with him. No, literally, I met this guy on Tinder.
Yeah.
So it was like, so I get what you're saying. That
I also can't blame him. Like even though that sucks and he doesn't believe you, I also like, I guess I can't blame him.
Yeah, you can't like
how the relationship
exactly.
started.
And then we like have this notion that like if she did it, or even like outside people, like if she did it to so and so, she's gonna do it to you. Like, and that's just the way it is. And I think that's probably I didn't fault him for it or anything. It was more like, I get why you feel that way, but like I have never lied to you in a relationship. Like you were the one that was lying a lot. So if I'm telling you that this didn't happen, I'm not going to sit here and convince you. Like that's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm like, if you try to accuse me of something and I know, and I'm so sure that like it's just an accusation, I'm not going to sit there and try to fight my case. Like I'm telling you, what you're saying is inaccurate, and like that's it. And
and especially you're over the relationship, and especially at that point he had been sneaking around on you a little bit, so it's kind of like, why are you gonna sit there and be like convincing
at
him?
That point it's the projecting.
Like
now your jealousy is literally just you projecting, or like your accusations to me is literally just you projecting to make yourself feel better. It's almost like you want me to be like, yeah, I was talking to this guy while I was with you, so that you could feel a little bit better about the dirt you did to me. But that wasn't the case. So, you know,
feel
like,
validated or feel okay in letting you go. Like, I feel like some guys really, they want to hate you, or like a girl would too. I would, if I was breaking up with someone, I don't want them like, and I don't want the relationship to be over. I need them to not be nice to me. I need them to be fucking mean to me and be cold to me so that I could break it off. Because otherwise I'm always gonna just like wonder, like, is there a chance? You know what I mean? Because he kind of still wanted to be with you.
And see, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because everyone, my friends, everyone, I can't believe he would do that to you. Like he's fucking crazy for doing that to you. Like blah, blah, blah. I didn't hate him. Nothing in me, like, I wanted to hate him so bad for all of that. And for whatever reason, I feel like because I kind of like what we talked about a little bit earlier, how like I've always wondered.
You were so ready to be done with the relationship.
I was so ready to be done. Like, and even now, like everyone's like, oh, like fuck him for doing that to you, or like whatever. And like,
this is what your friends are supposed to say.
Exactly. Yeah. But like nothing, I didn't even tell anyone the real reason we broke up for so long, because I didn't want people to not like him anymore. Like I was like, look, we have the same friend group. Like my family is your family. I don't want to really tell my mom like exactly what you were doing, because I don't want her to look at you differently, because I kind of don't look at you differently.
Yeah. And
like,
you're already over it. You don't care.
Yeah. Like of course I do care, because I'm like, fuck, like I'm sitting there like putting dates together, and I'm like, wait, hold on. So when I brought you to Miami for work, like I let you come with me on my work trip, you were fucking seeing someone in Miami, like while I was out working, and I thought you were hanging out in the hotel. Yeah. So like stuff like that. But I still like, even to this day, like any guy that I was talking to, like after him, they're like, how's the relationship like with your ex? Like, and I'm just like, it's not bad. It's literally not bad. I still see him sometimes, not anymore. I've kind of like set this boundary.
But you guys are in the same friend group, right? So you guys sometimes have to see each other from birthday parties or something,
exactly. Right? So like, and I also don't want my friends to feel like they need to pick like one person over the other. And so I don't hate him for anything that he's done. And I feel like people are very put off by that. people are just like,
they wanted
damn.
you to hate him.
They like, I think they probably wanted me to hate. They probably didn't like him, like because of what he did. And so they were just like, fuck, like Monica, like you should feel like the anger that we're feeling, because that'll probably drive you to like stop talking to him and like completely cut him off. But like, I feel like I saw him more as like a friend and a roommate for so long that like, because like the intimacy wasn't really there. So I still like, even to this day, like I could find out so much more that he's probably done to me while we were together, and nothing in me would probably be like, I fucking hate him and I'm never going to talk to him again.
Yeah. And because you guys are, I mean, I think it's better to have it that way and still keep like your friend group solid.
It would be easier though for me to hate him.
It would be easier for you. Yeah.
I think because then I get bored and then I'm like, oh, like I wonder what he's doing.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
And then it's like,
definitely
no, like
cut it off.
That. Absolutely not.
How long do you think that your relationship had lacked in intimacy before you guys actually broke up?
Probably a couple years.
Yeah,
I probably think like 2 or 3 years.
And you stayed why?
Comfortable, complacent. Like it was, first of all, we lived together. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that plays such a big role. You don't know anyone until you live with them.
I don't know if the research has changed, but I remember in college, like 10 years ago, learning in one of my classes that people who move in together before marriage had like higher divorce rates. And I think it's because people who move in together, like they don't want to rock the boat. They already live together. So they choose not to break up and leave relationships that aren't really working and instead just keep going.
That probably makes so much sense. Yeah.
But I remember when I heard that, I was really shocked.
Because I would think it would be the opposite.
That's what you would think.
Because it's like, then you really figure out whether or not you want to actually marry this person, because that's how it's going to be. But yeah, I feel like probably I didn't want to rock the boat, but I feel like also as a girl, and I don't know if maybe this is like common, I was like reading about it, is like girls mentally check out a lot earlier than guys do. So I feel like by the time that we ended, I was already mentally checked out by years, because like everything that like transpired at the end that came out, like I already kind of knew some of the stuff. Like it has happened before, and I'm like, no, like he'll learn, or he'll like, I trust that, like he's going to change or whatever. For whatever reason, I kept like, okay, he's going to change. And then I think by like year 4, I was like, you know what, maybe he's not going to change. Like, and I was like, I'm prepping myself, like, because like right now I'm not okay and I can't do it. But like, I know at some point, and I think I may have even told him that before, like one day, like I'm just going to leave. Like, this is going to be like way too much for me. Like, but I know mentally I'm not ready right now. So I think by the time that I was ready, I was ready. I was done. Like,
do you wish you ripped the Band-Aid off and did it 2 years ago when the relationship lacked intimacy?
Yes and no. I want to say I'm glad that it happened the way it happened. I feel like timing is everything. And I was shocked when you finally told me that you guys broke up, because I hired you in February, and you presented yourself to me as like someone who is in a long relationship, and you had prospects of moving for work, but you didn't want to because you had a committed relationship and stuff. And so in my head I was like, okay, so like Monica probably won't want to travel with me, like she has her life here, but like she's great, so I'm gonna hire her. And then you guys broke up and I was like, oh yeah. And I didn't tell you I didn't tell anyone. I live with my best friend. I did not tell her for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it was because he was still around. And I also do this thing where I don't want to be a breakup to makeup at all. So I want to
know it's over.
Yeah, before I tell anyone, because I know a lot of girls that are like, I'm so done, we're done. And then I'm like, okay, like I want to be here for you.
And then you guys have a giant shit talking party.
Exactly. And then they go, and then I see them posting that they're together, and I'm just like I understand it, but I was like, I'm not going to be that person. Like when I'm ready to tell everyone we're done, like we are going to be done, because I'm not going to be the person that's going to tell everyone we're done, or like delete pictures off Instagram and stuff like that. And then people are like, I wonder if they broke up. I wonder if they didn't break up. And then all of a sudden, like it was like archived, and then I unarchive it. Like I just didn't want to do the flip-flopping thing.
I've never broken up with Adam officially. We've had a lot of close calls, but I've always said to him, like, I don't ever actually want to break up unless it's for real, because I feel like the way I view relationships that are on and off like that, I just see them as so toxic, and I see them as things that are just never going to work, because like, if you really, I feel like, could work through your relationship, you just would, right?
Exactly. And I feel like people like use the term like breaking up like very loosely, to where it just loses it loses its value.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then once you break up to make up, say you break up with the guy, then in their head they're like, she'll be back.
Exactly.
Because
If
like
keep
you
doing
set
it, it's like
that
crying
precedent.
wolf. Like crying
Exactly.
wolf. It's like crying wolf. Like if you just break up and then like together again the next weekend, like what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, or another thing is like when people pack their shit, they're like, I'm leaving, and then they pack their stuff, or I'm moving out, and it's like, no, you're not.
I've never been in that situation. That's
like,
too dramatic.
It's so dramatic, but I know people where it's like, can I stay at your house for a couple days? Like, me and so are having issues, and I'm packing my shit and I'm leaving it. And I'm like, don't do that, because you know that you're just gonna have to sit there and like, you grabbed all your clothes out of the freaking drawers. You're gonna have to go back and feel really stupid refolding your clothes and putting them back in the drawers, and then just dealing with whatever you're dealing with, and then you're back together. Or you get back together and you guys just don't even talk about it like it didn't happen.
So short of a breakup, don't you feel like sometimes having a fight with your partner brings you a lot closer? Like,
yeah. I think if you have open communication, though, because sometimes,
but I think sometimes people don't have enough open communication, or they're just not saying what they want to say, and then
where they
builds
need a fight.
Up. Yeah, it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then finally they have a fight, and then the both partners kind of realize like, oh shit, like this could be gone at any moment. Like I really need to take care of this problem right in front of me, and then you resolve it, and then you're closer because of the resolution.
Yeah. That's not how my relationship was, but I can definitely see that.
But because you guys couldn't communicate with each other well?
No, we had very open communication. Mm-hmm. Like if anything was bothering me, I always said it, and vice versa. If anything was, I always told him that. Like there's one thing that I like learned from like, my mom's marriages and my sisters always being with people is like, say, like if you don't set that tone at the beginning of the relationship of like, this is how I feel, or like these are my boundaries, that person's never going to be able to read your mind. They're not going to know that that's what bothers you. So if you just tell them right off the bat, like, like maybe like this is where my boundaries are, or this is something that bothers me, or this is what I'm looking for in a relationship, or when I'm not looking for in a relationship, like then it kind of like avoids the fights.
Yeah, because they kind of know.
Because I don't like the build up, and then like, like then you just like take out all of your anger on that person, when I feel like it's also your responsibility to tell them when it happens, to like avoid the buildup like of your own emotions. And I'm also just like, I feel like I am emotional, but when I'm fighting or arguing with someone, I'm like super duper logical. Like
me too.
I don't say, I know people who say like the meanest things when they're mad.
You want to de-escalate the situation. You don't want to escalate it. You don't want to just say shit that you're going to want to take back later. That's just going to add fire. Like fuel to the fire. Like what's the point of that?
Yeah. And I know people just say really mean things or like low blows, and it's like, what's the point of even doing that?
Actually have like a real tangible issue that you care about resolving, then you would just be focused on that issue at hand and the facts around that issue.
Also, yelling is a trigger for me. The second someone raises their voice at me, like at least like in a like domestic partnership, I shut down. Yeah. I'm like, you yelled, like you're raising your voice. I don't hear you anymore. Like you think that you're raising your voice at me is going to make me like really hear you and listen to what you're saying and really like think about it. No, it's completely the opposite. I'm shutting down mentally. And when you're done having a fit and being, I feel like it's almost overly emotional. Like you should be able to argue without like breaking things or saying mean things or like, it's just it's a conversation. Yeah, no, I agree. Adam's never yelled at me, but if he starts to get like mean, which is like if I bring up a fight, like not recently, like probably like maybe 2 years ago, but if I brought something up and he just completely right off the bat disagreed with me and maybe thought like I was like
even though if it wasn't true, like he just thought like I wanted to fight with him, and so I'd bring something up, then he would kind of get like mean. And if someone just gets mean, like you're saying, like just add stuff to it, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. Like we cannot be having this conversation right now. It's just too much.
Have to pick your battles at that point.
Because then for me, the fight would become not about the thing that I originally brought up, but about like, why are you being mean? Like then that's what the fight would be.
Then now we're fighting about your tone.
Yeah, because then I'm like, I could have never done that to you. Like, you know, if you start saying something to me about something that bothers you that I do, I'm not gonna start saying mean shit to you. Like, I would feel so bad.
Exactly. And I also feel like that's just like a way to like redirect the argument in a sense. Like if you're like bringing something up to your partner and then they like if you ask them a question and then they ask a question back, I feel like it's always just like redirecting. And then I feel like that's what then we'd argue about. It's like, answer the question.
I haven't had like a really heated fight with Adam in like a pretty long time.
I want to know about the situation with the Hennessy bottle.
Oh, I just like, because remember the girl, like, okay, so Adam, the situation where he like cheated on me, quote unquote, is like, it was intention. So yes, I call it actual cheating. With the reason I put the cheating in quotes is because Adam didn't actually have sex with anybody else or like hook up with anybody else. But he told me that he met this girl in front of the store and like, let's go to a party with her. And so like, I got liquor or someone got liquor and I was like, we're going to party with this girl that Adam met outside the store. She's pretty cute, whatever. But then I found out by trying to go, she like left for some reason and I was trying to get his phone so I could call her. And when I saw his phone, I saw like their conversation and I saw that he didn't meet her outside the store because they had like a longer conversation or whatever. Yeah. So like when I saw that.
What was your immediate reaction?
My immediate reaction was we were in the back of the store when it was on Melrose and I had liquor in my hand and I just like threw it in the alley, but someone like thought that I threw it at her, which I would just never fucking do that. She wasn't even there anymore at that point. But I just felt so stupid because I was like, oh, here I am. Like, we're going to go out and I'm trying to call this girl to come back from wherever she went so she can go out with us. Meanwhile, I find out they had conversations prior to that day and that he had completely lied to me.
Do you think that that's the most like outrageous thing that you just threw the hand? Wait, was anyone there when you threw it? I just want to know the context of.
It was a Friday night. And so Friday nights we would like, Adam would already be at the store doing interviews, whatever. And so a lot of times it would be like, meet me at the store, we'll go out. And there would be like people who worked for Adam or friends just hanging out there. So like
who was next there to you when you did that?
My assistant was there. And I think Adam's brother-in-law, my brother-in-law was there. And probably like one of Adam's.
So Adam wasn't even actually physically there when you threw the bottle.
No, he was there too. Oh. But like I'm saying, other people were around us. And like obviously, yeah, I was like embarrassed that I threw a bottle on the floor. Which is like,
did it at least, was it like a good throw? Are you happy
No, it was probably a shitty throw. No, I was just like, I'm leaving. Like I threw it and I left. And like
it cracked open?
I don't even think it cracked. Maybe, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. Everything was a blur. I was obviously like, I was really hurt and I was just like, okay, I cannot believe I'm in this fucking situation right now where I have a partner who has it like really fucking good, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because back then we were like very adventurous sexually and we were doing OnlyFans content and whatever. And so I just kind of felt like the thing that everyone thought like, oh, this would not be enough for Adam. Like he's just too much of a hoe or whatever it is. Like it's like actually coming to life or whatever. But I do think that like, I'm not gonna like give him excuses because I still don't believe in like what he did. And I feel like I was a little bit more jealous back then. Like I do feel like I would have been a little bit less open to the conversation of him bringing a girl to our relationship, because a lot of times when we had threesomes, like I was in charge. I was the one who met the girl and then we would like hook up with her or whatever. So I was in control in that situation. I had the communication with the girl. It wasn't like he was texting a girl to get her to meet up with us. And so maybe I wouldn't have been that open to having this girl hook up with me. But like he admitted in the interview with me, it's like he shouldn't have just assumed that I should just be down for every time that he wants to get down, because it's like you have to be matching with your partner. Like what if I was just not down that night? What if I was not feeling it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't just like automatically assume that.
Yeah, but we went back home after that and we just had like a really long heart to heart for like hours. And it was kind of like, are we going to stay in this relationship? Are we not going to stay in this relationship?
How do you feel like after sharing that story, like the feedback on YouTube, like from like people talking about your relationship. Like, how do you feel about that?
I honestly didn't see a lot of I thought I was gonna get a lot more hate for sharing.
We were very scared. I mean, I was scared. I was like, hopefully, you know, and we cut this.
I mean, I feel like the comments that people have about Adam and I's relationship in a negative way are not about that situation.
No, they're not.
They're more about like, oh, it's not fair that Lena can't sleep with other guys, but Adam can. Or I did see some people say that like Adam should have acknowledged my feelings a little bit more in that situation, but no one was shaming me for sharing it, and no one was shaming me for staying, which is what I thought that the criticism was going to be about.
And I mean, you did also mention to me that like after we were done recording, like he did kind of like tell you that he wishes that maybe his reactions were a little bit different.
Yeah, and I feel like he felt like he was on the spot, and he felt like he had to play it cool and like be Adam or whatever. But when we were at home and I was bringing it up to him, I was like, hey, like you were kind of dismissing my feelings on the podcast. And he was like, oh yeah, that was kind of fucked up. Like I probably should have acknowledged like you a little bit more in that situation. But in his head, it's like, oh, that was so long ago. You're still bringing it up. It was 4 years ago, which like I feel like I should be able to bring it up any fucking time I want. But I do also think it's a little toxic to just, if I was bringing it up in a day-to-day, every single day, like pointing at it as like a thing, that would not be right. But we had never talked about it publicly on my podcast before, or on any podcast. He acts like we've talked about it before, but I feel like that was the first time like we really dug into it. He would just mention it like casually. I see this podcast as like, I don't know. People keep saying like, what is your podcast about? What is your podcast about? Like when if I ask girls if they want to come on the podcast, they ask me that. When someone asks me to go on their podcast, I don't really think to ask what their podcast is about. I just feel like every different person that you talk to, they have a different perspective that they bring. And so when you're having a conversation with someone different, like the conversation in itself will always be a little different unless there's like a very specific theme to the podcast. Like, are we going to eat hot wings with spicy stuff on it? Like, obviously that's like a very specific type of podcast. There's another podcast that I listen to that's like they're debating. But when I feel like when people ask me to share what my podcast is about, it's like, it's just about whoever I want to talk to and whatever I feel like talking about. It's like a replacement for my vlogs. Like, I don't feel like I need to give that much more.
No, yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's why people actually liked the Adam episode. Like we were kind of worried about it because we were like, you know, people might not like this, or, you know, people might come for you. But at the same time,
I saw a lot of going to like about it.
I more so thought that people were going to come for you and be like, based on his reactions, because they were very dismissive. Yeah. And like it wasn't necessarily validating the way you felt. And it's like something you guys both went through. But it kind of like got placed like that's your tragedy.
Yeah, I know. Maybe tragedy wasn't the most appropriate word.
But I feel like it was good though, because then the comments that actually came out were like positive, and it's like it's a different side of you guys' relationship, because everyone, for one, is always used to you guys just having sex on camera. And then people are used to you alone having sex on camera. And then people are used to him, like, you know, just being a fucking guy on his like podcast and stuff. And so I feel like with the touchy subject, like, I mean, what you guys were talking about was, I feel like, very on brand for what you're trying to do with like this podcast and stuff.
Yeah, I want it to be, I mean, I feel like I haven't reached my super, how would I say this? I feel like I haven't reached my podcasting peak. Like I would like this podcast to be a little more therapeutic in the sense that I like want to really ask people the deeper questions, which is why I was trying to ask Adam about his parents a lot. It's like, I feel like people want to know so much about his business, but I want to know more about like the person, their insecurities, like what makes them tick, like what drives them. Like that's really, really what I want to know more about, which I'm sure Adam does when he interviews people who are not in porn. But when you're in the porn space, a lot of the questions just become about the sex. The whole just thing about the body count thing just really it really bothers me, because I just don't want girls. It's not like I'm trying to like encourage girls to go be super promiscuous, but like I do think people are sexually liberated and should be able to have fun experiences for good reasons, you know? But I feel like this also became like the Monica therapy episode a little bit.
Oh no.
I mean, you know, our situations are so different. I'm in a committed 6-year relationship and we're about to get married and we have a kid together and our lives are so intertwined. We own a house together, we have property. And then your situation is like you were with the guy that you were friends with in high school and then for 6 years and then you guys just broke up. So it's like our situations couldn't be more different.
And I'm like re-navigating everything now.
Yes, everything is like for the first time again.
And that actually, though, I don't know if I came off sad or anything, but I'm actually so excited and like really happy, to be honest.
Yeah, I was worried that you were going to be really upset, but then when you explained to me that you were ready for a long time, I got that because I feel like I was like that with my ex.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like wasn't willing to pull the plug for a lot of different reasons because I was comfortable. But yeah, once you're ready, you're ready. So it's kind of, I guess, better for the what's the word I'm looking for? It's just better for the heartbreak in general because obviously you'll still remember that person and things will remind you of them and you'll kind of be like sad and nostalgic. But when you're ready, and it's kind of just easier to let go.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm coming into like actually who I am because I've always just been in relationships.
Did you feel like you were really codependent with him?
100%. Yes. I was very codependent. So I feel like now I'm finally like able to just go and do things on my own and drive to CVS in the nighttime to go.
You wouldn't be able to do that by yourself?
I feel like I was so codependent that anywhere I wanted to go, I'm like, come. Or like, like I would plan things. I would make plans in anticipation that like we're both going.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like vice versa. It was very much like that on his end. So very codependent too on me. So it's kind of like, honestly, I feel like the breakup's probably doing more good for him. Right now, maybe he doesn't see it that way, but I see it in a way where like this is probably so much better that we broke up now at such a young age. Like, because how long could this possibly have gone on? And then what? I turned like 30 and then what? Mm-hmm. Like, and then we break up at 30. Then I have to like start over at 30. You don't think
he would have ever broken up with you? He would have just kept sneaking around?
Yeah, I truly believe that.
Wow.
He would have, because he had it so good. My family literally was his family. Like our home, our dogs, like everything was ours. Like I gave him my car. Like it was like that. I was like, no, because our finances were so mixed too because we lived together and everything. I was like, it doesn't make sense to buy a new car. Like this car I had, it was my first car. I paid it off. There was like a big recall on it and it got a brand new engine. Just keep it. And even now, like, just keep it. Like, I'm not. And when people are like, what the fuck? Like, you let him keep, like, your car that you worked for? And I feel like, yes. Like, it didn't bother me. What am I going to do with it? Yes, I can sell it and I can get, like, some type of monetary value from it. But
I feel like the mixing finances thing gets really sticky because I think that there's a right time to move in together. But if you just do it for financial reasons, that's really sticky and it'll make you stay longer because you don't know how to get out of things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyways, this will be a wrap up, but then we started talking more about Monica's relationship, which I'm sure we'll get into more in the future. Okay. Anyways, obviously I'm still figuring out how to do a solo episode here because I don't know how to exit. But this has been Lena the Plug and Monica, the anonymous girl behind the camera on Touchy Subject. Thank you for listening. Subscribe on Apple and Spotify. Please review. Good reviews only. If you're going to leave a bad review, please don't leave one. And we're on YouTube as well for the visual component if you want to see my cute dress. Okay. I love you guys. Have a good day on purpose. Bye.